It's that time of year. You're trying to decide if this college is your dream school or not. Or maybe you're trying to decide for somebody or give somebody else advice or tips. Or maybe this is for you. Let's talk about it, sis, because you are on the verge comparing and contrasting, putting out your pros and cons list, but you have not even thought about the ones that I'm about to mention to you. Let me tell you, as a college graduate, I spent time applying to several colleges, multiple colleges, and here's how I narrowed down my dream school. Here are 20 ways to choose your dream college. Let's start with number one. Go and visit that school. You've maybe seen it in passing, maybe like you went to a graduation of someone who was graduating from that school and you went there and you're like, oh, I've already been on the campus. No, you haven't. No, schedule a in-person tour to see the facility, to see the campus. When you get that tour, there's much more to the campus in the school than just the two buildings you saw when you visited your cousin last summer. Okay, let's get into that in person tour. Trust me, you want to do that. And that's how I chose my dream college. I visited campus more than once, honestly, probably like 4 or 5 times. Number two is the communication. So that means you've applied to this job. Have they sent you an email or a letter? How did that email or letter of acceptance feel? As I receive application letters, there's ones that send it to you really early. There's ones that send it to you really late. They dragging their feet, and then you finally get it. And at this point, you're like, it doesn't feel the same, right? So even the timing of when you get your acceptance means a difference. And as far as communication goes, even when you are communicating to the staff at this university or college, the advisors, when you email them, when you have questions, when you talk over the phone, what is the overall gist that you're getting? Are they nagging, or are they being authentic, honest? Are they responding in a timely fashion? I think that's very important because you're getting almost a dose of what it will be like if you're at the university as a student and you actually have questions while you're already there that are important, that you need answered. Will people get to you in time? So that's something to really consider. Number three is hospitality. So when you go and tour before orientation, right? I'm talking about when you go on a visit, how does the staff treat you? How do they welcome you or not welcome you? How is the overall atmosphere in the environment? Is the hospitality genuine? Is there even hospitality? What are you looking for? Southern hospitality, that southern charm that you're familiar with? Number four is this university growing or is it stagnant? Is there not much motion going around in this school? Like, not many people are graduating from here. In fact, nothing else has been new on campus. Or is this a university that has gotten different majors or has gotten new projects being developed, new buildings that they are constructing? What is the environment of the university that you want to go to? Do you want a more modern one? Do you want a more traditional look? So kind of think about that as well. Number five, does this university have plenty major options? For me, I needed a college to have major options because going into my freshman year, I was classified as undecided. And that was because I thought I was going to go to medical school, and the major I wanted to was to go to medical school, but I knew that wasn't what I was going to be. Anyways, this is not besides, that's not, I mean, that's besides the point. You do want to go to college that has multiple majors, or maybe you don't, and you for sure know you're going to medical school, and you for sure know you're going to be a biology or a chemistry major. Then if that's you, that's you. However, there are people that they change their mind. I know plenty of people that they decided to be a biology or chemistry major, and then after the first, second year, they're like, whoa, this is not for me. So for me, one of the universities that I chose to not go to is because they did not have a lot of major options. It was a smaller university, but at the same time, there was other small universities that had more options than them. So I knew for sure there was a specific university that I applied to. Once I really dived in deeply looked into their major selection, I was like, it's pretty rigid. It's pretty rigid. Number six is the location, right? Is this a rural area? Is it an urban area? Is it in the city? Is it in a small town? Is this town considered a college town? Because to me, I didn't want to be so far away from things that I would like to have quicker access to, whether it's a 10-15 minute drive. There are smaller universities that you won't have access to things that you would in a larger city, and you would have to commute 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours away, or really you would just have to only when you go back home, that's the only time you might get it. Or maybe the opposite. You are leaving a small town and you want to go to a college that's in a major city, so you want to have more variety of stores and activities and opportunities in the new city you're going to college in versus your small town. So let's get into the eighth way you could choose your dream college is tuition free. Because should you be paying for your school? I mean, nah. But you should at least have tuition should be a reasonable enough cost that you have things in place to cover the tuition. And we're not just talking about tuition, we got to factor in room and board too. So is there financial aid packages? Is there scholarships offered? Do you have grants? What is the case? Okay, we want to try to avoid loans as much as possible. Number 8 is, what are the actual degrees that this college has? Some colleges only have undergraduate programs. So the undergraduate programs means associates, bachelors. So there is a caveat to that, because some universities, although they only have bachelor's degrees and not associate's degrees. For instance, the university that I attended, wow, can I speak? The university that I attended did not have associate's degrees. And I inquired about that because at one point I wanted to be an ultrasound technician. And to be an ultrasound technician, you just need associates. Then there are some universities that have associates and bachelors, and some that only have associate's degrees. So I say this to say, because you might be wanting an associate's degree, but that university doesn't have it that you're applying to. Or you might want a bachelor's degree, but you might also want a master's degree. And some universities don't have graduate school at all. So they don't have master's or doctoral programs, but you want to get a PhD. So that's something to consider, because, of course, although you could go to undergrad at one university and then go to another university to get your graduate's degree, some people like just going to the same university for both, right? And for me, I wanted to have options. I considered getting my master's immediately after undergrad. So I was like, I would just want to get it from the same university. And this university does have a lot of graduate programs at that. So that's something to consider too. All in all, I would say, what are you primarily prioritizing going for? Do you want to get your bachelor's, get it in all 4 years, or do you want to get associates? Or are you really, really sure you want to go to medical school? So you want a doctorate program or a school that has medical school? Because not every university has medical school or dental school or the specific graduate program that you're looking for, like physical therapy, etc., etc. The list can go on. Number 9 is, what is the home and living situation at this university? Do they require freshmen to stay on campus? There are universities, they require you to live in that dorm. You don't have a choice. That's the only option. And you cannot stay in an apartment. Apartments are for juniors and seniors, upperclassmen. Now, there are also universities that it doesn't matter what grade you're in, anyone can stay on the dorms and anyone can stay in the apartments. There's also universities that the dorms look very modern, very nice, very luxurious, and there are really most of the universities, or at least the ones I've seen, let me not put most on there, the ones that I've seen, which is all the ones that I toured, the dorms look hideous. And that deterred me from living at that university, because I highly considered this one specifically that was an hour and a half from where I live. So I would have had to stay on campus, but the dorms look treacherous, horrendous. Number 10 is the size of the campus. Some people thrive in feeling more like they're anonymous and they can reinvent themselves if they're at a super, super big university that has 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 students. They love that. They love the ability that they can kind of slide, duck, and have a classroom that's a lecture size, or have a classroom size that's 500 students and it's a lecture style, and they feel fine with that. Some people are like, how am I going to learn? How am I going to connect with this professor? Now, I do have a video about building relationship with professors, and I'll put it at the top, whichever side is gonna be on, okay? However, some people are like, I want a small university, okay? It's just like 3,000, 5,000 of us, and the class size ratio is 10 students to one professor, 15 students to one professor, right? Now, there are some universities where you do have lecture size classes where it's like 300, 500 students, and it's almost always core curriculum where it's prerequisites and those type of classes. But then when you get into the nitty-gritty classes that specifically to your major, then it downsizes. So if you're okay with that transition, or if you want it to kind of be a similar way or the other, or you really don't like that lecture style classes, it's something to really think about. Or maybe just sit in one. You can ask the university, hey, I would like to sit in one of your classes, whether that's a smaller class or the lecture size, and kind of gauge and observe the environment, how the atmosphere is, how the teaching styles are, which obviously every professor is going to be different even within that university. Number 11 is the diversity, right? And the representation. That is important to a lot of people. Is, are there people that look like me at this campus? Or am I going to be the minority at this campus? Or am I going to have organizations that support the inclusivity of all people? Number 12 is the strength of the athletic program. So even if you are not an athlete, this could be desirable to you because you are big sports fans and you would love to tailgate and go to football games, or get athletic, what is it, season ticket, student passes, whatever it is called, student tickets to go to basketball games. And or there's a lot of universities that certain sports they let students go to like completely for free, so you're big sports fans and that would be very, very appealing to your college experience. Or maybe you really are an athlete, right? Okay, period, clock that. College athlete in the building, so of course the athletic departments. But I know that's a completely different realm and how things go now. I ran out of storage on my Apple storage, so I'm recording this on TikTok, and so that's why the quality's a little different. Anyway, number 13 is, can you see yourself living here after you graduate? So whatever city or town that is, could you see yourself living there? Of course, that would give you a good answer. And number 13 would be like the campus facilities. How does campus look like? Okay, what facilities do they have? Do they have a nice gym that you can work out in? Do they have rock climbing? Do they have an indoor basketball court? Do they have an outdoor basketball court? Do they have tennis courts? Do they have specific labs? Do they have video games and game rooms and all these different things? Do they have student lounges, student centers, a nice library? Those are all amenities and facilities that are accessible to students, and you want to know what are the options that you have when you are looking for things to do. I don't know what number we're on because I lost track. But the next thing I would say is, does, and this is more so if this is something you are thinking about doing or would want to do, is, are there study abroad programs? Is there international programs? Is that something you would want to do, a study abroad? I have heard of plenty of people have this experience and it sounds awesome. It sounds really, really cool. So that's something to consider because not every university has that, or some universities may have limited options, or it's very competitive to get into. The next one is parking. Ideally, I would love to park my vehicle on campus and park right in front of the building and get into the class that I have the building into, and then get out of class and my car is right there. That was not my experience. However, I did have a friend that was her experience, and she went to a different university that was just 30, 40 minutes away from the university that I attended. So it really just depends. And you might not think that, oh, that's a given, but some universities do not allow that, like mine didn't. Students had to park in a parking garage or at the football stadium or at specific metered parking. Like, y'all. Then the next one, I think this is the most important one, me personally, is the food. Okay. Some universities are known for really, really good food, a variety. They have food courts. Some universities, they don't have good cafeteria food, but they have a lot of restaurants and a lot of different options. Okay, you can know their typical menu, what they be serving. You can ask that, you can find that, you can find the dining. So that's important because that's what you're going to be eating. You're going to need the fuel from food to study and do your schoolwork and test. and show up at class and have energy to do group work and activities in labs. So food is very critical, it's very important. So I would implore you, actually, when you tour the campus, make sure that you stop and see the cafeteria food and taste it and buy it, or see what restaurants they have available. The next one is, what is the type of institution that this is, right? Some people are for sure looking to attend an HBCU. Some people don't necessarily care, but it is good to know, right? We all want to know. So you might be attending a PWI. But if you're attending a PWI, maybe you'll learn there's other curriculums or organizations or groups that support minority students, or maybe you're attending a minority serving institution, or maybe you're attending a Hispanic serving institution, or one that is native funded from Native American tribes, specific things like that. So the next one I would say is, are there organizations, clubs, programs that you can be involved in as a student? It is really, really good to be involved in things. Number one, for the experience. That's a great way to make friends, opportunities, and also to add onto your resume. I think that is a great opportunity to at least try to join at least 2 clubs while you are in college, if not two, the very least one. Honestly, try to join a couple. At least try and see, because like I said, it can lead to a lot of networking and unexpected opportunities that you can also then add those opportunities onto your resume, if that makes sense. So you could add that you were in a club or in an organization. Like for me, for instance, I joined one, and then in that club and organization, some things that we did was mentor students, and we went out in the community and did that. So that was like a whole separate thing I got to add to my resume, was I literally was mentoring these students and I saw them bi-weekly. And then also we volunteered, right, at like nonprofits, and like gave out items and flowers to people. I think it was on like Valentine's Day, to like make people's day, and they literally only had to put like $1 or two. The next one is going to be something that you're going to leave in the comments, because I would like to know, how would you choose your dream college? What is your non-negotiable, or what is your deal breaker, or what are you looking for? We all have different experiences, we all have different wants, different needs, desires, do's and don'ts, pros and cons. So leave yours down in the comments so that everyone watching this can read what each other is saying. And then if I get enough comments, I will definitely do a video reading what you guys are saying. But that's all I have for my time here. Okay, we're here to blossom in self-care, elevating and pouring into ourselves and our garden so that it can flourish. And all of these steps and methods are things that I did to facilitate how I chose my college. But if you want to know specifically the college that I did choose as well, and more specifically how I got into that process, because I tried to give a couple little things, but I didn't want to make it so much about me. I'm trying to give y'all the gems, y'all the tips, and y'all do with it as y'all please. Bye. Now, there's a caveat to that. There is a caveat to what? There is a caveat to that. They have undergrad programs. They only have bachelor. What number am I on? Hold on, wait. And of course, there's ones that, yeah.
Smoking with Cody, we make it look cool, like cooler than cool, man. Bring back the beat, I ain't done with it. Yeah, you be tapping with the mob. Why? We be tapping in with God. Yeah.